We all know that R is a data wizard, but first you gotta feed it data. Whether it is in CSV, Excel, or even a text file, R can read it all. So today I'm here to introduce you some easiest ways to read data. Read data in R. First, imagine that you get 20 students' examination scores and you want to save them into a variable named as scores. Then you may consider about using the combination function, which enable you to save their scores as a list, like you may notice that there is a space in between each two of the scores. It is not compulsory, but only make it easier for you to read the code. And same to the new line, new row. If we hit the run button, you will save the list of scores into the variable named as scores here. And you may also want to print it using the print function here, print scores. And you can see the scores as a list in the console window. But what if I make a typo for one of the score? Or what if I want to add 50 more students' examination scores into the list? Or what even I want to add 50,000 student scores into the list? Is it handleable? So it is not scalable. There's got to be a better way. So stop typing, start importing. Now start using Excel. First, I'm going to introduce you to read files in CSV format. For example, you may open Excel sheet. And here is the list from here, and you may also add one column named as student, which start from 1 to 20. We'll start from 1 to 20 and save it as the CSV format, named it as student score. Save it. This time what you need is to save the CSV files into the new variable. I named it with the CSV as a suffix, which enable us to differentiate from the scores we created by inputting the examination scores manually before. So this time I'm not going to use the combination function to manually input their scores anymore. What we need to do is using the read.csv built-in function in R. But here you need to let R know where you save your CSV file. So we need a quotation mark to mark down your path where you save your CSV file. Your save is here, so I hit the red button of my mouse and select the get info, and I can get the path where I save the CSV file and paste the path here. I remember that you need also mention the name of the CSV file, so write down the CSV file's name. So here is the path where you save your CSV, and here is your CSV file name and .csv format. And now I hit the run button, I can get the scores in .csv file. This time if I want to print this data frame, I can also use the print function and hit the run button. I can also get the data frame printed in the console window. But what if you prefer to save your data in Excel file? First we want to save our data into Excel file. Again, we need the student column and save it as the score.excel file, xlsx. and click save, and you get Excel file here. What we need to do is to first install a package named as read Excel file. This one is not built-in package in R, so you need to install it manually. You could see the red icon here. It means that R is running code. So it asked me that whether I want to install from sources needed. I choose yes, and it will be installing the package. It requires some time because I'm just updated my R version into the newly one, and it requires to install a lot of different packages related to the read Excel package. Again, after running it, you need to library the package and let R know that you are going to use the functions under this package. So run it, and this time you would give a new variable named as Excel, for example, and this time you're going to use this inside of the read.csv file before, because you are going to feed the data in Excel format to R. Again, you need to copy and paste the file path. Copy and paste the path where you save your data and use the quotation mark. After it should be the whole file name. Scores ILS. And this time you will get the data fed to R using read Excel function. Again, you could print the data frame using print function, or you're going to check your data merely for the first 6 rows using the head function. You get the simple sized data frame which extracted the first 6 rows. Lastly, when your data is in a plain text format, how to read it in R. This time you're not going to install any new packages to R. What we get is here, for example, you have a txt file, and in your txt file you record the student and their examination scores here, like this. And this time you're going to only use the scores. I chose the txt as the suffix to the new variable, and you only need to write down the read table function, built-in function in R. And this time again you need to write down your path where you save your text file, and then add the how about we name it as score text .txt. So run it. When we open the scores in text format, we will notice that there are 2 variable names automatically given to the 2 columns. They are V1 and V2 instead of the originally the student and score. So how could we handle this? There are 2 ways to cope with this problem. The first one is we skip the header, which means that the first row records the variable names for the 2 columns, right? So we can skip the header, which means that we skip the first row. We give the column names as using the combination method as student and score. This means that we skip the header row, which enabled us to skip the first row in our dataset, namely the student and score row, and give the new column name as student and score instead. And the skip equals to 1 means that we only skip 1 row. This time we can run the code and check whether it is written in the correct format. So it skipped the first row originally named as student and score, and only load the data from the first row to the 20th row. The 2 new column names are student and score. Another method is, again, we name the score score data frame as read.table. And again, the path and the file name. We also need to write header equals to false, which means that we skip the first row, and skip equals to 1, which means that we only skip the first header row. And we need to add the column name function to the text data frame and use the combination method. Give the column name as student and score. Let's see what will happen. First, we load the table, not scores. We can open the dataset we load, and we can see that there are 2 column names automatically added by R. They are V1 and V2. These 2 are what we don't want for our data frame, and then we need to run the column names as student and score and see what will happen. After running it, we'll get 2 updated column names as student and score and 20 rows of data. And here again, you can use the head function to check the first rows of your data frame, and the print function to print the whole data frame. Let's see what will happen. To print the first row of data and check the column names, and to print the whole data frame and check the column names. Okay, that's all for today's content. First, I introduced you how to manually input a list of numbers into a variable, and then I introduced you 3 methods to feed data in different data format, where you save your data in a CSV file, Excel file, and a text file. And which file type do you work with most? The CSV, Excel, or the text? Please drop a comment here. And if you want to do some practice, you could search and find some data and input it manually or save it in CSV, Excel, or text files and load it into R on yourself. Thank you. Bye bye.